Greetings. This is Arvette McLean of Speak, the Universe Listens.
We cherish that. We love that particular piece of it because
teach people like, hey, it's okay, change.
New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
Today's episode of Speak, the Universe Listens. And today's topic is, do affirmations really work? And I have Stephen joining me. Hey, Stephen. Hey, Rodney.
Hey.
Always love having you on the show. So do affirmations really work? So just the whole idea of affirmations have been around, forever probably. And I know a lot of times people will start doing it, but then they don't see much change, and so they stop doing it. So have you guys had any experience with affirmations, and what do you think about them in general?
Yeah, I actually go to sleep every night listening to affirmations, like sleep affirmations and about wealth and things like that. For me, I think the affirmations work, and you can start seeing the change in your life when you start believing those things that you're saying, those, I am this, I am that. Like when you start believing those things and feeling the feeling of it, then that's when I think things will change for you.
And for me, my favorite one is I am. And I think just with affirmations in general, sort of following up with what you said, it just sort of, it's like the stepping stone to changing your mindset, because sometimes we're all of us on an everyday basis, we have our minds start thinking about a billion and one things, and we sometimes don't be aware of what we tell ourselves. So for me, mine is just basically I am. So it sort of reminds me of when I'm talking to myself, instead of me coming from a place of lack and just low vibration, it gets me to saying, okay, well, you know what, I am a positive individual or X, Y, Z. But for me, I think it does work. It gets you more aware of what you're telling yourself on an everyday basis.
I think the funny thing about affirmations is it kind of turns you from being your worst critic to a fan of yourself in a sense. Because we beat each other up. I mean, not each other. We beat ourselves up and tell ourselves all kind of stuff, And like when you're doing affirmations, it's kind of like you're a fan of yourself again. Like you're hyping yourself up, So I think it like turn you from your critic to your fan.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
So y'all have any concrete examples of when affirmations have worked?
Let's say, for me, just with work-wise, I would say when I run into something that I have never done before, I sort of beat myself up a lot. Like my mind goes into overdrive, and I'm just thinking about, I never did it, so I'm not sure if I can do it or X, Y, Z. And then I have to pull myself in and say, you know what, okay, I can do this. So when I start telling myself I can, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I start reading up on it. I start getting a little more information. I start teaching myself. So that thought process of not knowing, it starts to fade away, and then it's like, okay. Then I just start to get into the groove of things. I'm doing it. And I surprise myself. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so I do affirmations, and I'm gonna tell you what, they can work really, really fast, right? And so one of the affirmations that scared me, oh my gosh, it scared me. I was saying something to the effect of, every day in every way, I'm getting more and more charming, or all the charm I need is within me now. So anyway, that was one of the, because I'll just say a variety of them. One of them that I was saying was, you know, I'm getting more charming, I have all the charm I need. And so I stepped foot out the house, and oh my gosh, it's like everybody's on me. Like men and women are like, oh, I'm just so in love with you. And I'm like, wait a minute, whoa.
Hold up.
Hold up. And so I noticed that anytime I would say that exact line, then I would just get all this extra attention, like more than I can handle. And so I never say that affirmation anymore.
And then I think about like, I tried the one as to where it's about abundance and wealth, and that's not just material things, but just overall, just knowing that I already have. Because sometimes, just every day, you're going through life, and it's like, all right, sometimes you have to stop, wheel yourself back in real quick, depending on whatever the situation may be. But just reminding myself, like, I am abundant. I do have everything that I want. And so those times is the way I feel like I'm lacking. I remind myself that, and just have an affirmation for it, and then it's like, okay. So it sort of gets me in a better mood, gets me in the position where I want to be. So I love it.
I think a lot of times we think like affirmations gotta be extreme and it gotta be an extreme change. But sometimes like simple thing like, like I'll say, I used to tell myself like I'm a procrastinator.
Right.
Like I'm gonna do things last minute, yada yada yada. But then when I start telling myself I'm organized, I get things done. Like just that simple change can change your life in a big way.
Yeah, that's so true. And I know a lot of times people have the pushback. So if you know you're unorganized and you're saying I'm organized, then sometimes people's internal chatter be like, no, you're not. So you get that pushback. And so have you guys ever experienced the pushback before?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, you are this, but you ain't got that. Like, but like I said earlier, it's all about really believing it, and getting rid of that chatter or ignoring it and really believing what you're saying. And that's when you see like the biggest difference.
Yeah. And so we do have to do affirmations that won't give us the kickback, because sometimes you can do an affirmation that you don't believe, and so as you're affirming what you don't believe, you're actually affirming what you don't want. Because every time you say, I am abundant, and if you're saying, no, I'm not, I'm abundant, no, I'm not, I'm abundant, no, I'm not, like, right. So that is one of the reasons why people possibly don't get results from affirmations. But another thing is when people do affirmations, a lot of times they phrase them in a way that they are affirming what they don't want. So let's just say if you have a lot of bills, a person might say, I am debt free, or I'm free of debt. So that's affirming what they don't want, because every time you say, I am free of debt, you're reaffirming that you have debt. Exactly.
So don't even mention what you're doing.
Right.
So how would you reverse that?
So you can just change it to something like, I'm a money magnet, or money flows easily to me.
That's the one I hear a lot in my sleep ones.
Or the money magnet.
Money flows
Money
easily
flows
to me.
easily.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. Or instead of I'm pain free, you could be like my body moves easily and freely. So
basically
just
flip it to what you do want.
Right. So that's one thing. Make sure that you are saying what you do want, not what you don't want. Then you actually say that you say I am, because that's another key thing, is to put it in the present tense. Because a lot of times people will say, I will be blank. I will be happy. I want to be abundant. I want to be free. I want to be happy. But instead, you want to put it in the present tense. I am happy. So you're claiming it for now. And of course, if you're saying I will be, you're always looking to something in the future, but you want it to be right now.
But I tell them that, yeah, affirmations, they do work, and like Rodney said, I mean, it can be something very simple. I mean, whatever you feel that aligns with you, I'll tell you, go for it, but just make sure that it's something positive.
Just saying something about the negative talk and the self-chatter, and in a sense, when you're having that negative talk, you really are affirming the negative thing. And so, but affirmations really, whatever you are giving your attention to, is almost like you're voting. You're voting with your attention, right? And so a lot of times we do have that negative self-talk, and a lot of times it's all day. And so that means we're giving our votes to negative and to, as you say, we're beating ourselves up all day. And so if we're starting to affirm things, then we're voting to be our own fan, our biggest fan, or whatever. So so that's one way to think about, like, if you are affirming something, the more you affirm it every day, the more votes you are giving to that thing versus the other thing.
And I heard you say before, like, you did an exercise where you just had, like, stop and think about what you said about yourself at that moment. Like if people can stop when they think about something negative about themselves and turn it into a positive affirmation, I think that'll work.
Yes, I agree.
I do that every day. Every day I could just be driving on my way to a job, and it'd just be something that would hit me, and I just start talking to myself, right? And then I gotta watch what I'm saying, because words have space, basically. And I'm like, oh, let me take that back, Because I remember I was telling you guys about the lady that asked me for some money, right? And I told her no. And I thought about what I was saying when I said no, because of the simple fact, if I tell myself that I don't have money, then I'm actually saying that I don't have money. So I'm not going to have no money. So I was like, you know what? Here you go. So like I said, just an example of just watching and being aware of what you're telling yourself. Because if you want to have, you can't have the mindset of lack. I guess that's the word.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm constantly redirecting myself with, is the whole scarcity mentality, and it's not enough, and you got to save, and everything that we've been taught about saving money, we got to save, we got to put in the bank, we got to have enough for our future, we got to plan for our future, and all that stuff. I am going back and erasing all that in my mind, because if I'm believing that, then I'm believing in scarcity, and I'm believing that the world is limited, I'm believing that I'm limited, I'm believing that the Creator is limited. And so I'm literally going through erasing all of that, and it almost sounds crazy to me because I was so much that person where you gotta save. And I think I've shared with y'all before, when I used to work around the clock and I would have like 3 jobs, 4 jobs at a time, I would never pick up my paychecks. Like, I would leave them, they would always be in the safe. I have like 3 and 4 checks at every job, and they're like, do you want your money? And I'm like, yeah, but it's I'm saving it. It's safe.
I gotta see what I'm working.
So also, you made a good point, like in terms of believing what you're saying. So you have to believe it, and then of course the way to do that is really to start feeling it. So an affirmation isn't you just saying, I am abundant, I am abundant, I am abundant, I am abundant. Like, you really have to feel it in your body. You have to ground it in your body. Feel abundant now. I am abundant. What does that feel like? What does abundance feel like? Feel what it is that you want to feel. see it in your mind. See yourself as being abundant. If you have abundance, if you have an abundance of friends, if you have an abundance of money, if you have an abundance of love, if whatever your abundance is, abundance of flowers, just see it, feel it. If you can write it, that'll be great. If you can say it out loud. I believe in saying affirmations out loud. Do you guys say y'all's out loud?
I say it out loud all the time. Yeah.
I'll write them down and then read from it.
I'll just say mine like anywhere that I'm at. I can be at work in the car. Mainly, I talk to myself in the car. so that'll be my place.
But yeah, I noticed that when you feel it, just like my biggest thing was the scarcity, right? So I try to get myself, when I'm telling myself I am with my affirmations, I sort of have to reprogram my mind because I was a cheapskate. I ain't gonna lie, I was a cheapskate. I don't like spending money, you know. But I had to get myself into the mindset of not thinking that I don't have and knowing that I do have. So anytime I see something I want, I can get it. And I just go ahead and get it. And not feel afterwards like, dang man, I should have spent that money. You know. So that just sort of makes me get into the mindset of, you know what, moving away from lack and just more into feeling abundant and just taking on that feeling of abundance and wealth and just feeling good.
And another thing I want to point out too is when we're doing affirmations, we can't worry about the how they're working.
Yeah.
We can't worry about that. You know, you just gotta really believe it and feel it.
Right. So, I don't know, sometimes I go all the way around Robin's barn, and then I even forget why I was going around the barn, but hopefully I won't forget. So, I remember, let's see, I don't even know, maybe I can cut. Okay, so, let's just say, for example, for whatever reason, I have a lot of people in my life who other people consider to be difficult people. And so, people are like, why is somebody like you with somebody like them, right? Because maybe that person is perceived as mean or, you know, arrogant or whatever. But I typically don't experience that from that person. And so, like in my head, what I'm thinking is every single one of us has different aspects of ourselves. And so, depending on whatever the situation is, you show different parts of yourself or whatever. So for whatever reason, these quote unquote difficult people, they don't show their difficult part to me, right? So I don't necessarily even know that they might be difficult or whatever the case may be. But I feel like with affirmations, what we're doing is asking ourselves to experience a wider portion of who we are. So a lot of times we focus our attention on just a narrow portion of who we are. But we are all of this, like we are everything. And so, yes, I have the scarcity part, but why do I have to spend my time experiencing that part? Why don't I experience that abundant part? And so I'm calling for the abundance that's already within me. So I'm not like trying to call for something that's outside of me and pull it to me. That's not what's happening. I'm just choosing to experience more of a different part of me.
So kind of like the affirmation that you're saying is already within you. You just gotta pull that from within. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically reminding yourself who you are.
Tapping into another
Mm-hmm.
part of yourself.
So any other comments on affirmations?
I would just say, be your biggest fan and not your biggest critic.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that so much. That's gonna be my new thing.
Practice being your biggest fan more.
I like that. But yeah, whatever I'm telling anybody, whatever feels right for them as far as like what Rodney was saying before, it can be just something very simple. You don't have to make it complicated at all, you know. But just start doing it, and when you're doing it, start believing. Start believing. what you're saying, what you're telling yourself, and being aware of your self-chatter on an everyday basis. You know, if you got to wheel yourself in, you know, and just remind yourself, hey, if it take you 5 minutes to go to the restroom real quick while you're at work, and just, you know what, I am, or whatever your affirmation is, and do so. But the more that you do it, the better that you start to become, and you change your mindset.
Yes, I love that. Yes, so becoming our biggest fans. So I love that. So of course we want to pay attention to what we do want instead of what we don't want. We want to make sure our affirmations are in the present. I am blank. We want to make sure that when we're affirming that we're not just being a robot, but that we are actually feeling it. That's so important. Seeing it, grounding it into ourselves, using whatever. If you can write it, that's great. If you can say it out loud, that's great. If you can do both, that's even better. I have had great success with doing them out loud. I typically have done them out loud for as long as I've been doing affirmations. I do them out loud, and I just repeat them over and over until my body is like literally vibrating like that thing. So there's certain affirmations I have that I say every single day. And then there's certain affirmations depending on what I want to bring to myself that day. So, you know, if I know I have to go someplace where I'm going to have to be waiting and it could possibly be frustrating, then I'm going to say, you know, I have all the patience I need is within me now. All the patience I need, you know.
I can use that one. I don't like waiting.
You know, if it's a day that I'm maybe writing something, then I'll say, you know, all the words I need or all the knowledge I need, or if it's a day that I'm going to be, you know, on stage talking or something like that, then I'm saying, you know, all the comfort I need. So just pulling whatever it is that I need for that day, and I'll say it. And I can honestly say that the more that I say, like especially the ones that I say every day, it's like I really have become those things. Yeah. So even though at first they might have seemed kind of like just words,
Right.
the more I practiced them, the more I voted with my attention, the more I became exactly those things. All right, so thank you so much for joining me. Thank you guys for joining us, and I look forward to talking to you soon. I hope that you will write down some affirmations and even share some with us in the chat. So thank you again. Look forward to talking to you next week. Until then, this is Arvette.
Steve.
Just run.